Hey, man.
What's up? Happy to be here.
Have you ever heard of Gunther the Sixth?
No, but I know the other 5. I can tell you a lot about Gunther 4.
Whoa.
Okay, you're not. They all go, and that's making you unhappy.
It's hard to be happy when everybody goes,
Hard to be happy when you look like Hitler.
And so, all this,
Put it in the intro.
so all this,
I like when I see Alex's eyes kind of light up where he goes, the little line that's going in the intro.
Things I learned last night.
so Gunther the Sixth. Let's start here, actually. In 2021,
This feels too recent to be a 6th. You got to quit doing that. I feel like 3rd is the max.
3rd is the max? What if you're from a long line of people who just keep renaming names?
That's bad, dumb, wrong, should end. What if you're from a long line? Stop you right there.
Stop the line.
All right?
In the line.
Because
Finish the bloodline.
Patrick Mahomes named his kid Patrick, right?
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes is
The
the second.
Yeah. So his son is the 3rd.
The 3rd, I feel like, is acceptable because you don't want to be junior.
Yeah.
So you name your kid also, and it gets you out of being junior. Now you're the 2nd.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But after that, Patrick Mahomes the 3rd should probably choose a different name.
Yeah. Or his kid could be Patrick Mahomes the 4th.
That is how that would go. Or the obvious option. Do you think these people are stupid? Do you think people are stupid? Well, the option is to choose a different name, or he could be the 4th.
Or he could be George W. Bush.
He could be, is what I'm saying. This is my kid, George W. Bush Mahomes.
Wait, is his first name George W. Bush?
All one word.
George W. Bush. And it's not a W, it's the word W. Like phonetically.
GeorgeDouble. U. BUSH. George W. Bush.
Yeah, people call him W for short. Because that's the part of that. That's the easiest.
That's the part that people remember.
Anyways, so in 2021, this Miami estate was listed for sale.
Okay.
For $31.
This is the style of house that my wife wants, by the way. Tell her how much it costs.
$31 million.
We ain't got that.
And so, yeah, it was listed for $31 million.
Crazy.
And this made worldwide headlines because the seller, the owner of this home, was Gunther the Sixth. And this is Gunther the Sixth. He's a. You want to describe this image to?
Sure.
Here's another picture of him. You can describe this image to our listeners. Anyone who's not watching.
Yeah, if you're not watching, he's got a necklace on, and he's like, his hair is like brownish, reddish, black.
A little bit of black.
Yeah,
coloration.
Big German vibes for sure.
He's got his tongue hanging out, crazy for a picture, a professional photo like this.
Yeah. So come on about. I like the idea of leaving the audio listener in the dark on this. Like, how long can we do that?
How long can we leave it? Not very long, because it's pretty central to the story.
He's a dog. He's a German Shepherd. All right, you know what? And that's where I'm fine. I'm fine if he names one of his dogs the 7th, you know? If he wants to name one of his pups, and that's another thing that weird people do is they call their kids their pups. That's
pups,
weird.
These are my pups.
You know?
I kind of like that.
Oh, mama bears love doing that with my cubs, protecting my cubs.
Yeah,
I bet you are. You're protecting them from all the scary stuff at Target.
At public school.
Rarely are those people protecting their cubs from diabetes, though, I've noticed. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. Bear cubs love diabetes. So Gunther,
I hate the videos online where it's like the mom is feeding the kids horrible stuff. I mean, it's like watch me make breakfast for my 4 kids, and it's just like stuff you're like, oh my
it's just
gosh,
like
this
hot dogs and trick cereal.
Yeah, and then all the comments will be like, good on you for feeding keep those babies fed, mama, that kind of stuff.
Yikes!
That's the stuff that you're like,
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like, you you know something interesting that happened to me today, actually, on a very similar. So my whole life, I've been like a hardcore show person, so I like hang out at bars a lot, outside the bar, and everybody's smoking. That's something that people in that scene do. They smoke cigarettes.
Sure.
And so it's become a thing pretty quickly where like it doesn't bother me. I usually don't really even notice it. It's very normal.
You know what we need? This is a total side tangent on your side tangent. But you know how Liquid Death made water that looks like alcohol? That you could be drinking a Liquid Death and people would be like, oh, he's chill. It's a beer, right?
It's a beer.
Because people were like, look at this loser getting hydrated. So we had to give him goth water to feel better, right? We need Liquid Death cigarettes.
Yeah, so what is it? Like, what are you... Is it just like a little like it's like a liquid IV? It's like a tiny amount of water.
No, I mean like you're doing like it's like the clove cigarettes they smoke in the movies, or you're not doing anything that's like hurtful.
But it's just fun to pretend.
But
to
you're
smoke.
just like, but then you don't get ostracized standing outside of the scene.
I mean, here's the thing. I never had a problem with it. I honestly thought people who had a problem with it were kind of weird. And I was like, whatever, if you don't want to get lung cancer, like whatever.
Sure.
But like, I don't know. And I've always kind of been of the mindset that like, even like people with kids, I'm like, yeah, they're gonna be around cigarette smoke. Like it's part of life, you know? Like you can't really avoid it. Today, I was driving back from the doctor's appointment with my son, and we had the windows down because it's a nice day. Pulled up next to this car, smoking a lot. And there was this like animal deep inside me that was like, you need to go smash that guy's teeth into his steering wheel for smoking near your kid. I didn't do that, but
we know.
But but it's so I
Could
never
you
thought
it?
I would care. Yeah, I could do it. I could smash that guy's face into a steering wheel.
Describe the other guy first.
I couldn't see him. Like,
and then you were like, I got to roll the windows up in my car
like
to save my kid. You need to get out.
Go back to his window.
That was you crawling over to get out of your passenger door.
I get the bit.
To roll, you know.
I understand the bit.
It's because your car sucks.
I know the bit. I know what.
Maybe it wasn't the guy next to you. Maybe your car was on fire. You're like, this guy.
What are you?
And then you assault this guy for smoking.
It's like I wasn't even smoking. Your car was smoking.
And that's what sucks, man. Anytime you're near somebody who smokes, like you just smell it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to like. You can't help but. Yeah, it's crazy.
You open the door and
it just wafts into you.
Whoa.
And that's never bothered me before. But now, to my surprise, I can't stand it.
To my surprise.
I really, like, that happened today. And then I drove away and I was like, huh, interesting. Because I was like, I genuinely, my whole life, I was like, I want to care about it.
I almost went full mama bear and assaulted that guy at the red light.
It did genuinely make me very angry.
So Gunther owns a house. And this is what sucks, dude.
So Gunther the Sixth. Here's the thing.
I know that I'm older than that guy. I don't like when younger people are further than I am.
Here's the thing. Gunther the Sixth is the Guinness World Record holder as the wealthiest dog. He has a net worth of $400 million. So he this is his life. He's got a personal chef. He has an entourage. He has
an entourage.
He has a private jet.
He's having a little cocktail.
He has a yacht.
He has a human attached to him. That guy probably has something to do with the money, right? And
so he is living. He has a staff of 27. He's got multiple properties all over the world.
Sure. How is this legally? This is not legally in the dog's name. There's no way, right?
No, yeah, it is. It's an irrevocable trust. We learned about that in last week's episode.
Okay.
So here's the story. Here's the story of Gunther. I'll give you his story.
Is he a clone? Is that why he's the sixth?
No.
Okay.
So
because some people do that.
Yeah.
They like clone their dogs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, not Gunther.
Would you do that?
Would I clone my dog? No.
Your dogs aren't good enough to be cloned. Alex might. He's got a good dog.
Gunther. Would you clone your dog?
Probably not. He's not genetically a good dog.
He's not genetically a good dog?
The breeder he came from is
Let it leave the gene pool. That's bad. That's horrible. That's a horrible thing to say about your dog. I can't believe you just said that about your dog.
That's a little 1940s.
You just said, I hope that my dog's genes leave the gene pool. You just said that.
I hope the breeder that he came from is more responsible.
Hey, there we go.
Oh, there you go.
That's a better way to say it. Yeah. But it also does mean the same thing. So here's how the so
I like the idea of me saying something and then being like, I can't believe you just said that.
I didn't say that. You said that.
I cannot believe you just said that.
So in 1992, there was a woman by the name of Carlotta Liechtenstein.
Carlotta?
Carlotta Liechtenstein.
Oh, wow.
And the interesting thing about her is she was a German countess. And let me see. I got a picture of her in here. Here she is with her dog Gunther the Third.
Okay.
And in 1992, she passed away. And here's the thing about Carlotta. She was a countess. She's a very wealthy woman. Her husband had already passed away. Her son was a huge soccer fanatic, wanted to go pro in soccer, played like for a youth like feeder team that was going into a professional team. His name was actually Gunther. He had a dog named Gunther.
How do you feel? How would you feel?
What do you mean?
If like... Okay.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
His name was also Gunther. Okay.
His name was Gunther. He had a
A
dog.
lot of confusion when she died.
Here's the thing.
This is all left to Gunther.
And
He's like, that's me. And the lawyers are like, but that dog is also Gunther. And he's like, no. She obviously meant to leave the trust
she
to
meant
me.
to leave it to me.
And they were like, this is too hard to tell.
No, so Gunther, he had a dog and he named his dog Gunther the Second. But when he was a young man, like early 20s, I've never said young man before, like seriously.
Like a young man.
Felt really weird.
It was also a stupid thing to be like, imagine. I know I'm going off, but imagine you go over to somebody's house and it's like, what's up, man? You don't know Gunther that well. You just met Gunther. You're like, what's up, Gunther? Yeah, you met while you were smoking outside of the scene.
Yeah, outside of the scene.
And
hey, Gunther.
what up, Gunther? You're not comfortable enough yet. You don't know him that well.
Yeah,
this is your first time at his house. Yeah. He's like, yeah,
he's German, so it's actually pronounced Gunther.
This is my Gunther, and this is my girlfriend Amber, and this is our dog Gunther. And you're like,
did you name your dog after you?
What? Gunther.
It is pretty crazy to name your dog after yourself.
That's what I'm saying. That's we're just being like, well, he had a dog named Gunther the Second, obviously, and so the cat, like, you're just trying to gloss over it, like that's not an insane person thing to do.
Yeah, you're right.
I feel like that's a bit that we've done in the show before, where it's like, hey, I'm Tim. This is Tim. You're like, what?
Speaking of Tim's.
No, we're too far from the story. Tell it later. All right.
Fine, I'll tell you later.
Cut it out.
I'll tell you now. Let me tell you now. I was talking to my dad this morning.
Whose name is also Tim, by the way.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a relevant thing to this, is that he's not Tim Jr. because they did different middle names.
We're different
all right?
middle names. We're both Tim.
And then your dad was like, I know your dad was sitting there being like, I hope he names this kid Tim. And just name him like a different J middle name,
Yeah, just like
because there's Timothy John and Timothy James.
He could be Timothy
Jacob.
Johns.
He could be Timothy Johns. Timmy Johns.
Timothy Johns.
He could be Timmy Johns.
Dang it. I should have named him Timmy Johns.
That's okay, dude. You can name your second kid.
We'll have another one.
Which is awful.
Just skip the verse.
Oh, yeah. This is my second kid, Tim.
What's your first kid's name? Not Tim.
Yeah.
It's not.
We actually legally changed the first kid's name to not Tim. All one word. N-O-T-T-I-M. Don't pronounce
Not
it
Clayton.
Notum.
It's not Notum. It's not
Tim.
There's a glottal stop in there. Not Tim.
A glottal stop.
That's what it's called. That's the technical term.
His name is not glottal stop Tim. N-O-T-G. I don't know how to spell glottal, so I stopped the bit.
No, so my dad's the youngest.
I don't even know if that's a real word. You just said it and I repeated it.
It is a real word.
That's
glottal stop.
That's the influence you have over me.
Yeah. So
your dad, Tim.
My dad told me this story today. He's the youngest of 3 siblings.
Tim.
No. He's the youngest of 3 siblings. I told him
all named Tim.
My dad's the youngest of 3. He said when he was 4 years old, so his brothers would have been 6 and 7. He said they convinced him that if he ate dog treats, like they would make him faster. And he says he remembers like opening up the thing of dog treats, and he's like, "This smells really bad." And they're like, "That's the thing that makes you fast. Like that's why dogs get so strong." And he's like, "They eat the treats, and it makes them fast." And what they would do is he would eat it, and then they would go and they would lose to him, like unintentionally, to convince him. And like they sprung this joke along where they'd be like outside playing football, and they'd let him score because they're like, "Well, we got to keep the dog treat thing alive. We got to keep the dog treat thing going. We can't. I want to win, but like we got to keep the dog treat thing going."
What's more important?
Remember the dog treats.
And he believed that until he was 24 years old.
He's eating dog treats. That gotta make me fast. I love. It's so diabolical for a 6 and 7-year-old to be like, give him dog treats and then lose on purpose to keep giving him dog treats.
Kids are crazy, dude. Kids are wild.
That's insane. Okay, so
so she's got Carlotta, who cares a lot, and
her son Gunther has the dog Gunther the Second.
Okay,
wants to be a soccer player. Like
Gunther the Second is the first dog, though.
Yes, Gunther the Second is the first.
Got
dog.
it.
Gunther is the first.
Right, first.
Gunther the Human is the first.
Gunther human. Yeah.
Yeah, Gunther the Human. Anyways, so he wants to go pro in soccer, a big soccer fanatic. But when he's in his early 20s, he
Gunther
struggled.
Second is the one who made the team. There's no rule
that a dog
that says a dog can't play soccer.
Or sorry, there's no rule that a dog can't play football. They were in Germany. It probably wasn't football. Stop. I know exactly what you're doing right now. I'm so mad already. I'm like pretty mad, and it's gonna work on me, and I'm so mad about it. Okay, whatever. Anyways, so Gunther in his early 20s, he struggled on and off with depression, and he ends up taking his own life. And so
that was a pretty hard pivot.
So the mom,
that was such a hard turn.
We had to. So Gunther's mom takes in Gunther the Second.
It's really sad.
Gunther the Second has a litter of puppies, and she names one of them Gunther the Third. And then years later, in 92, she passes away, and she has no heirs, and so she leaves her entire fortune to Gunther the Third. And in that trust, she outlines some pretty like strict guidelines of like what the caretakers of Gunther were to do with.
And this is where?
This is in Germany.
Yeah.
And so she leaves $400 million to her dog. And within that trust, the law said they had to like maintain the bloodline. And so like Gunther the Third had to have a fourth and had to have a fifth and had to in it so that that lineage had to continue on, and the money would just continue being passed down through Gunther's indefinitely.
Right. Until it runs out. Because I don't know if you know this about dogs. Not great earners. The really earning potential is just really not there.
Really bad with budgets.
Yeah. Super fast though, because the treats.
Because the treats, they eat a lot of treats, so they're really quick.
They're so good at football.
Yeah.
Get it? Because it's funny because like they play soccer. And like in Germany, it's called football, right? And so in Germany, it's called football. But we call it soccer. Tim is really mad about how funny this is. I don't know. The comments are going to be like, Jaren's really mean to Tim. Which one?
Hey, thanks for watching our show. If you like it, a great way to help out is by being a Patreon supporter. Doing that helps make the show possible, but it also gets a lot of perks for you. You can get every episode a week early, ad-free. You get access to a Discord where you can meet a lot of other people who love the show and actually hang out with Jaren and I every month on a hangout. And we're also in that Discord chat all the time, talking with people, talking about episodes and just random stuff in life. It's super fun. There's a way to get birthday messages, a free gift, merch discounts in there. So there's a lot of really great reasons to be a Patreon supporter. You get a lot of benefits out of it. And it also makes the show keep happening. So if that sounds great to you, you can go to support.tilln.com or tilln.com/support, or just tilln.com and search around until you find the links and become a Patreon supporter. We really appreciate you doing that. But if not, right back to the episode, right? And so in this trust, she outlines like how to use the money. And so like a good chunk of it is going to caretaking the dog. So she literally is like defines the staff of 27. And so he has a personal chef.
How do I
he
get hired
has-
by this dog?
What do you mean?
How do you apply for who's,
So it's funny you say that. He has this whole staff, like the things you expect, like a trainer, a personal chef, like a vet, like all the things you would expect, a groomer.
There's a vet on staff.
Yeah, a vet on staff that like takes care of his health. A breeder who's going to maintain the bloodline. But then there's some other things that don't make a lot of sense. One, he has a spokesperson, and the spokesperson was actually approached. He had for a long time the spokesperson, and I think I actually have a picture of him in here. I think he is in this posse. Yeah. So the guy in the top left corner, he's a spokesman.
Okay.
Or spokesperson. And he was like an aspiring actor. And he had auditioned for some stuff. And the auditioning director was like, hey, I actually know these guys looking for a spokesperson. I think you'd be a good fit for that. And so he got hired by them, and he's been the spokesperson for like 30 years now.
Okay.
Speaking for Gunther, I guess, publicly.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They also have like researchers. They've got a team of scientists that are researching Gunther.
Like almost like Brian Johnson kind of stuff, like where it's like,
Similar.
okay, how do we
make sure this dog is healthy?
because what happens
What?
if like he doesn't have any heirs and then he dies?
Well, that's the point, that you have the breeders. And so the breeders are always maintaining a next of kin for Gunther. And so Gunther the Sixth is who sold this house that I talked about in 2021.
Okay.
And so this is earlier. I think the sixth in this picture is the youngest one, actually.
Oh, okay.
And so they always have a series of puppies behind them that will take the fortune whenever the current Gunther passes on to the next life. So Gunther, and then
This is so crazy.
and then in the trust,
And then one day Gunther got an email from God.
they have lawyers. He has lawyers, and then he has
Oh, him pushing through means something happened. Okay.
he has financial planners that are managing like the finances of the trust.
Yeah.
And then there is this like key figurehead in the middle. You saw his picture earlier.
Yeah.
This guy by the name of Maurizio Mian. Describe this picture.
So this picture is of what's his name?
Maurizio Mian.
Maurizio, whatever, looking straight onto the camera. He's an older guy. He's got a mustache that is just over the limit.
Barely.
I mean, like he looks like who you think we're talking about.
But it's like just.
But the mustache is
just
just,
a little
big
wider,
enough,
just a little
big enough
wider.
to be like, it's not that
It's not
guy.
that guy, but
It's
the
pretty
mustache
close.
is risky.
And so, so he's got, but he's looking like seriously looking
Very
straight ahead,
intense.
very
Yeah.
serious, straight
Very
into the camera.
serious Italian.
And then
man.
also being just slobberily licked on the cheek by this dog, which I think is photoshopped in, right?
I can't. It looks like maybe it's Photoshop.
Yeah, I believe
it,
that they.
it might not be Photoshopped. It might be like retouched. Like I think like they might have accentuated the tongue a little bit here and added.
Well, that's
some
what I mean.
slobber,
Is like I don't think the lighting on the tongue looks correct to the picture.
Yeah.
I think this is a solid headshot that they then,
another-
tried to put the dog.
Yeah, that's
in,
highly
and this
likely.
is probably his cover photo on Facebook. I assume.
And so Maurizio Mian is the like executor of the estate. He is the CEO of what they call the Gunther Group,
Right.
which is the company, like the corporation that runs Gunther's life. And
Okay.
everything about this company is to give the current existing Gunther the best life possible.
Of course.
And so they got yachts, they got private jets, they have homes in Italy, Miami, California, all over the world in like desirable beachside locations with beautiful views. And then there's like some other things in this trust that are a little strange. One of the things was, I guess Gunther loved music, and so they were supposed to build a Gunther the Dog music group, and and so they put together
Gunther the Dog music group,
So they in the 90s they
but
tried,
they can't
in the 90s they tried.
because I went on Busy and I trademarked it for
Gunther the Dog
$749. So
And so in the 90s, they tried to put out a house album with Gunther. And so it's house music, but occasionally Gunther barks on the
Like a
track.
boom, 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 boom.
Wait for the drop.
I know. I was trying to.
I was just stretching it.
When I started it, I was like, I know where I'm going with this bit, and it's never to a drop. I'll tell you that.
But they in the 90s they put together this house album and they tried to sell it and nobody would.
Do we have any audio of
so
it?
bad. I don't have any audio of it. It might exist out there somewhere. I don't have any audio of it. It was very bad, allegedly. And so they tried again in the early 2000s. And this time they said, what if we put together a pop group where it's like not a boy band because it's men and women, but we put together a group of young singles and we put together a pop group. So they started what they call the Burgundians. And so it is this group of people that we're going to produce music and we're going to tour the world.
I'm going to say something controversial.
Okay.
All of these people look like they're doing drugs. I mean, I'm so serious though. Look at their eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, look at his eyes in the back.
Yeah.
And then look at her eyes her eyes over here looks like.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you.
It looks like they're doing drugs.
We'll get there. And this is also the Burgundians, because here's the thing about the Burgundians is it wasn't one set group of 5. They were constantly auditioning people in and cycling people in and out and sending them on tours. And so you would go see the Burgundians. I don't know how many people ever went and saw the Burgundians, but you would go to a Burgundians show in Atlanta and it'd be a completely different group than was it in New Orleans, because they were sending different people to different places.
Right.
They're like 20 people that were in the Burgundians.
It's like Santas.
Yeah, very similar to Santa. That is actually just like
or
Santa.
the Newsboys.
Yeah, you know they're always different.
Depending what year you go,
that's not the same newsboy.
You know?
And so they here's the thing. They put together these Burgundians, and then they moved to Miami and they bought that house that they sold. And they
for $31 million.
They sold it for $31 million. They bought it from Madonna in 2000.
This is Madonna and the dog.
Yeah. So that was literally Madonna's house.
She bought it. They bought it for 7.5.
Yeah, so they made a good profit.
Paid to the order of, and that's crazy. Isn't that wild? Paid to the order of Madonna. And then the signature is a crazy, wacky font. This is Gunther, and then a little paw print.
Yeah, because the dog signed it.
Wow.
So they had this big ceremony, and there's the spokesman there.
Yeah,
He's been
with
there the
his
whole time.
necklace.
Yep. And because he's a Burgundian.
Necklaces.
And
necklace.
so
it looks, what they're all wearing, I get it. They're very thick necklaces, but it's like, we're all wearing collars, you know? It's like.
Mm-hmm. That's the bit.
Yeah.
So they move into Madonna's house.
Yeah.
And another thing that was strange about the trust
into Madonna's house
is they take these 20 to 30, 20-something singles that are the Burgundians and move them into Madonna's house with Gunther. And there's a line in the trust that, and I think this is because what happened to her son, is that they were supposed to use a portion of Gunther's wealth to research happiness and what causes happiness. And there was like a list of ways you do this. So this is what the scientists were doing, is they had all these 20-something singles, and they basically
keep saying the singles. Like that's like the most important thing about them. All these 20-something singles. Yeah, okay.
It's like whatever. And so the scientists basically were 24/7 surveilling these singles. These 20-somethings.
Just say the 20-somethings.
These Burgundians.
Why is it about what is about their relationship status that defines them?
I don't know. I can't stop calling them 20-something singles.
Okay.
And
From a 30-something married.
So they're watching everything that happens in this house.
This guy.
And like they have cameras everywhere, but they're also like there. So like there's a lot of footage,
Okay.
like video footage from the house from this time where like stuff's going on with the Burgundians. They're like in the pool or at dinner. They're hanging out.
The Burgundians.
And in the background, you see a guy in a lab coat with a clipboard just taking notes about what's happening.
Hey, how many mojitos have you had? 4?
Would you call yourself happy or sad?
How would you rate your current state of singleness? Okay.
And so essentially what they did is they created this imaginary world where they all were getting stipends. So they were all wealthy, kind of. Like they were living in this house.
Well, they were all living, but they got to live a wealthy lifestyle.
They got to live this wealthy lifestyle. They were getting good stipends. And then they had like every need taken care of them. They had healthy food. They had a disciplined like exercise routine that they had to do every day. They obviously like were in the public eye-ish. And so they got to do like these performances and shows. And then they would have these big parties that they would throw where it's like they could relish in the party lifestyle. And the idea was we're going to do all these things, take away all the stresses of life from these people.
Right.
Give them all the fun stuff.
Give them everything.
And see if that makes them happy and what has the most impact on their happiness.
Is this episode about to get like real?
And it's interesting you said like they all look like they have been doing drugs because like they supplied them with drugs because they're like, do drugs make you happy?
Yeah, it's the eyes, dude.
Yeah.
And like, did they pay for her plastic surgery up top, or
Probably.
were those just like for the picture? She was just sitting there pinching her cheeks.
Yeah. So
and then this old guy.
And then this old guy. The old guy also lived in the house. And so
yeah, I gathered that. And I imagine that he's taken some liberty with the details of the trust.
He definitely let me see if
he's not in this picture.
Not in this one. Let's see in this one. Not in this one. Well, I don't know if I have a picture of her. He married one of the Burgundians. Well, actually, he married 2 of their Burgundians because they got a divorce. They married another one.
That's what I'm saying.
And so
that was pretty obvious to us.
We could tell. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's fair. And so
he divorced the other one because she turned 24.
You're too old.
I hate when they do that.
Now you're not a 20-something single. It ruins the experiment.
Yeah, as soon as they start dating, he's like, "You want to be my girlfriend?" And she's like, "Yeah." No,
get out of here. You're ruining the experiment.
You just got fired.
They had these, the trust outlined these 13 commandments. And so in the commandments was stuff like this. It said, you can all have the gods you choose just as long as they don't upset your enjoyments. Only those who enjoy life will go to heaven. Crazy commandment. And so it's stuff like that. That's like you do all these things. And so it's things like maintaining physical fitness, eating healthy, not having any stress. And so like they had
stay
to follow.
hot.
Yeah.
And eat healthy. Do a little bit of drugs. And abandon any religious thoughts that you brought into here. Yeah. This feels like I know where it's going.
And so life for the Burgundians became what they described an endless festival. And so every day was a party. Like they did have like things that they were supposed to do. They were supposed to work out. They were supposed to eat healthy. They were supposed to go do their press things. But for the most part, they just hung around this mansion all the time with all their needs met and just did whatever seemed fun, as long as they fell in line with the 13 commandments. And let me tell you, the 13 commandments were basically just hedonism.
Yeah.
And so they, this went on for years in Miami until a handful of the Burgundians started to feel weird about the fact that they were being watched all the time by scientists. And they kind of started.
And also, what do you do after?
Yeah, on your resume.
Were any of them being like, I mean, my resume says for 7 years I lived at a house in Miami at the behest of a dog.
Yeah, I was
a research.
I was a research thing.
Participant?
Yeah, I was participating in a research study run by a dog. This dog was trying to see what makes humans happy. And turns out I was never happy. So they fired me.
Okay.
And so, yeah, So
So the backyardigans are like, we don't want to do this anymore.
So this kind of, a bunch of them leave and take like to the press And the press is like, there's some weird stuff going on in this dog's house. And so they didn't sell the house, but they moved back to Italy and they live full time in Italy.
The dog.
Yeah, the dog and the staff, the whole staff and the dog. And they try it again. They
were like, all right,
group of Burgundians.
American 20-something singles.
A new group of
Italian 20-something singles.
Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Things I Learned Last Night. If you like the show, you want to support us, we've got merchandise that you can get, and it's good stylish stuff that I made. I put a lot of work into this stuff, so it's great to find other TILLN fans in the wild and be like, wait a minute, I know that shirt. And so, we would love for you to do that. You can pop over to shop.tilln.com, or there's a QR code, or there's a link in the description. There's plenty of ways to find it. We promise we made it super easy. So thanks for supporting the show, and thanks for listening.
And it's the same thing. It's the same scheme. The one thing that changed, though, well, I guess there's two things that changed. One, they put it on TV in Italy. It was like a reality TV show. It was like, watch all these 20-something singles try to be happy, and scientists are watching them. And so
Okay.
it was like real life, weird life. And also a dog owns the house. But then they gave them these necklaces.
Guys, what about this is crazy. What if we do like the real world?
But it's like,
But like a dog owns the house.
like a real world. It's not like the real
And
world
you're
at
like-
all.
Okay.
Okay, is there anything else to the idea?
No, you're not getting
No,
it.
you're not getting it. Let me go.
Dog owns the house.
Yeah, I got that part, but like, can you like walk me through it a little, like flesh
You're
that
not
out a little
understanding the
bit more?
I don't think we're a good fit.
So they take this show to TV, and then they also, all the Burgundians, they gave them these necklaces that were pretty big medallion type necklaces, and they kind of looked like, remember those Simon Says games? They kind of looked like that, where they had different colors, and that was like their mood. And the scientists were watching them and
They had
moving
mood
the colors.
necklaces?
Well, the scientists were watching them, and they had remotes, and they would move their necklaces to change like their, I guess you could call it, score. And so what they had to do is they had to get the happiness one to the top, like the most lit. And so everything they did was to try to get this thing lit all the way up. And they would just wear it around all the time on the show.
Okay, so someone else observing you is to being like, not enough. And then you go,
It's like, ding. You're like, oh no.
oh,
I felt pretty happy
I
about
guess
that.
I'm not happy enough.
I guess I'm not very happy.
How's your day going?
It was pretty good until I saw this thing, the light go down.
Pretty good, I guess.
I'm pretty good, I guess, with the light. Like if you look at the thing.
Really great. A really great day.
To this day, they're like at breakfast with their spouse. And they're like, "How you doing?"
Oh,
and it's
hey, Tim.
sorry,
None of these people
They're
got
singles.
married
They're at breakfast with their friend.
with their longtime live-in partner because now they are all afraid of getting married.
So they do this. Meanwhile, Gunther goes around Europe and buys up a bunch of soccer teams.
Yeah,
And
and he's a great negotiator. You wouldn't believe it, dude.
he buys this.
As soon as he's in the boardroom, people are like, "Oh, yes, you can have it." And then it's like their guard is down. Then someone goes, "Hey, here's the deal," and they go, "Well, is that a good deal?" "Oh, you are a good boy. You are a good, yeah." And then he gets like crazy deals, dude.
Yeah.
It's the secret to sales.
Yeah, there you go. Like the book, The Secret.
Have a dog with you.
The book, The Secret, is the whole book. And then the end is like, oh yeah, and forget everything else, just buy a dog and bring it to negotiations. And so one of the companies he bought, or I guess one of the teams he bought, was the Pisa Calcio, which is the women's football club there.
Uh-huh.
It was a very popular club. And Gunther became the president of the club, and they had the whole teams. And that year, they actually won the championship. It was like a whole big deal. Like Gunther, the dog team wins.
The dog team wins. It was a true life Airbud.
It kind of. Well, he didn't
But they had
play.
it backwards. He,
He
didn't
didn't
need to be
play.
on the field. He had
He
to
was
be
the
in upper
boss.
management.
Yeah, he was.
That's the whole thing.
He was up in the suites
Guys,
watching every day.
The dog owns the team. The dog owns the team.
It's not Air Bud. Air Bud, the dog plays at a local youth team.
He's in a local youth team. No, this dog is a ruthless deal maker.
This dog owns the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know how I can make this more obvious to you.
You're not getting
You're
it.
not getting it. It's just scenes of this dog like,
freaking cat brains, dude.
firing
Oh
people,
my god,
cutting players, cat brains. And then the following year after the championship, there is a little bit of a scandal. One of the players on the women's soccer team, there is this big press interview. There is a very controversial politician who's running for office, and she kisses this politician in this press release. And Gunther was so offended, he sold the team, backed out of his endorsement of the
what?
team.
Stop. Wait, what?
This was a real thing. This was a real thing.
Wait, what? What happened? Say it again.
So one of the players on the team.
I was trying to make a joke that Gunther made like I was gonna be like, and then Gunther tweeted, I was trying to think of a joke to say for that, and then you were like, someone kissed someone.
Yeah.
Who kissed who?
So one of the players on that women's soccer team, the Pisa Calcio, she was at this like press briefing, and there was a very controversial politician who was running for office that a lot of the public despised, and she kissed him at this press conference.
Okay.
And Gunther was deeply offended, so Gunther sold his shares in the
Like mouth kissed him?
Yes, mouth kissed him.
No, I didn't know if it was like kiss his cheek or something.
Oh, I thought you meant like she used her mouth to kiss him. I was like, what other kind of kiss?
Because he thinks we're dumb, by the way. Tim's the kind of person who's just like, am I the smartest person alive? Because he straight up just thinks everyone's around him dumb. And he's like, yeah, mouth kiss.
Yeah, of course she.
Well, you think I was just like,
she used her mouth to kiss him? Duh. What else is she gonna use to kiss him? So she kisses this politician. Gunther's deeply offended.
Okay.
Sells the team. It's this whole thing. It's a huge deal.
Got it.
And he puts out this big press briefing of
what year is this now?
I don't know what year this happened.
Okay.
Sometime in the 2000s.
Sure.
And so he's going around. The basic moral of the story is they're doing these weird experiments. He's going around the world buying businesses and properties and starting things. They have...
Well, because they have to expand that money. You can't just live on,
Yeah. There's investments going on. And so, and they also have this, what's the word I want to use? They have a breeder they're using. And the breeder is breeding a bloodline for Gunther. And it's not just like they're getting one. They're getting a full like puppy mill, essentially, of Gunthers.
Yeah.
And then they're choosing the top of the pack to be the next Gunther. The rest of them become like competition dogs. And so like they're competing in these
Got it.
like the
the Best in Show stuff.
Yeah.
Have you watched the Best in Show movie?
No.
Oh. Have you watched the Best in Show? Oh, that's
Is that
a classic.
a Disney Channel movie?
No. It's no. It is it's an improvised movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Eugene how do you say it? Levy?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Catherine O'Hara.
Wait.
And in this is early 2000s.
Dang, I didn't realize they've been
working together for a long time.
That's awesome.
And it's Best in Show. It's like the Thanksgiving dog show. And it's a bunch of improv. You'll know
improv.
You'll know a lot of people from
I didn't know it was improv.
cast.
I mean, I've heard of this movie. Like I've seen it.
Yeah, it's improv the way Curb is improv.
Yeah,
where it's like, hey,
there's
here's
a
what's happening in
plot,
the scene.
but there's not a script.
But most of the dialogue is just made up.
That's fun. Interesting.
I've rewatched it a lot. It's fun.
Eugene's teeth.
Yeah.
Isn't
it crazy?
Yeah, I bet.
And they do the same bit from Modern Family where like everywhere they go, people, I forget her name and I forget Catherine O'Hara's character's name, but they're always like, I think it's like Trudy or Judy, something like that.
Yeah.
Trudy? Modern Family where they're like, Claire? Yeah, they do the same bit. It's fun.
That's fun. I like that. Yeah, so essentially the picture I'm trying to paint is Gunther's all over the world, flying in private jets, riding on yachts, buying multi-million-dollar properties, buying multi-million-dollar companies, and doing these like large
transactions.
Not just transactions, but like events. Like they're throwing galas and they're doing like big public appearances with politicians and celebrities, and it just like larger than life.
Yeah.
Lifestyle for this dog, and appearing on TV throughout the 90s. There are segments where Maurizio appears on TV with the dog, and they do these specials all over the world, like not just in like local, like in Italy or Miami. Like they're going globally to appear on TV shows.
This guy and that mustache, man. I mean, he really.
He is risking it all.
He looks like him. He looks like him.
It all.
He looks too much like him to be like, I'm going to trust some mustache. Like, grow the full beard out.
Grow that mustache out.
Like, he has the same facial shape.
Yeah.
Do we think that that's
What?
certainly?
What are you trying to say here? Are you trying to say
You don't think that that's
like he might be the
the
second?
So stupid. Dude. Okay.
And then in 2008, have you heard of Liechtenstein?
No.
So Liechtenstein is a very famous tax haven.
Okay.
And in 2008, there is the famous Liechtenstein tax scandal because a disgruntled bank employee leaks a bunch of documents from Liechtenstein exposing all of the worldwide elites who have
Hidden their money there.
money hidden in
Right.
Liechtenstein. And something very interesting that comes out in this is within Liechtenstein, the banks there, Maurizio Mian has an account worth $400 million. But he's not supposed to be rich. The dog is supposed to be rich. He is just the handler. And so Maurizio, this
has
guy,
been bleeding the money.
well, over the course of almost a decade, very slow journalism was able to track down this storyline. To then in 2023, a group of journalists put together a documentary that is now on Netflix called Gunther's Millions. It's a 3-part series. Pretty good documentary.
Is it worth it though? I hate when I watch 3 parts and I go, that should have been a 90-minute.
It is worth it. I will say.
And I also hate when I watch a 90-minute and I go, that should have been 3
that should have been
parts.
3 parts. No, it is worth it. It was really good. One thing I will say, we're a family-friendly podcast. That wasn't a family-friendly.
Yeah, of course.
documentary.
Yeah. They're doing all this stuff.
And the stuff in the yeah.
Also,
there's
when I
things-
say family friendly, this means we're not cussing. It doesn't mean I like your family. To be clear, family friendly comedy means like, oh, I'm not going to say inappropriate stuff. It doesn't mean I'm not like, oh, I'm friendly with your family.
yeah.
You know,
And-
I'll say it. I hate your family. I don't know what this bit is. I hate them.
And so throughout the course of that documentary, and basically a decade worth of investigative reporting, it comes out that this storyline of the German Countess is completely made up. There is no Gunther the First who took his life. There is no Countess. All of it is a complete fabrication because Maurizio was the heir to a pharmaceutical corporation. His mother owned this massive pharmaceutical conglomerate, and he was the heir to that empire. And when he inherited it, his mom did not want him to have to pay taxes. So they were going to put this into the tax shelter in Liechtenstein. But they realized that that was tax evasion. And so to try to throw people off of the scent, they created this fictional countess, Carolina. And they go with this storyline of the younger Gunther. And in the storyline, he grew up with Gunther. He's close friends with Gunther. And that's how he has the relationship and is named the heir because he knew him and he knew the dog. And so he was placed over like the job to take care of him. And then they made this trust. And within that trust, they were like, we got to make it really weird. So everyone just thinks, oh, this is a really eccentric multimillionaire who wanted her money to go to weird things. So they created this massive, crazy trust, all to hide his wealth that he inherited from his mom so he does not have to pay taxes on it.
Oh my gosh.
And he thought...
These are the lengths that people will go to, by the way.
And he thought, if we just make the storyline weird enough, no one will look into it. And it worked.
And it worked for so long.
For like 30 years, no one looked
and
into
then
it.
he got caught as a byproduct of another thing, though. Like someone wasn't investigating him and found that out.
No, yeah. It was somebody who just was disgruntled employee, leaked all these documents. And that's how this ended up all coming out. And what's really interesting in the documentary, they interview him, they have the whole thing. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. And then they bring up Liechtenstein. And you can see he doesn't want to talk about it. You see he's like angry. That they're bringing
Oh,
this
he's
up.
in the doc. Okay.
Yeah. And you can see he doesn't want to talk about it. They interview like his ex-wives and they're like, you need to talk to him about that. His lawyer, like the staff, no one will talk about it. And it keeps coming up. And then eventually they bring it back up and he's like, okay, I'll talk to you about it. And he basically just confesses the whole scheme. And he's like, yeah, like this was a tax evasion scheme. And like outlines how there was no Gunther.
Yeah, I was wondering, was the dog paying taxes?
No, absolutely
There's
not.
no social security number.
There's that's the benefit is a dog can't sign anything on their own. A dog can't.
Well, the dog signed that check to Madonna. I saw a
The
signature.
dog signed that check to Madonna.
I was going to be mad for a second. I was like, this guy's stealing from a dog.
No, the dog was just a tax haven.
This guy just likes German Shepherds.
Yeah. Well, and here's the crazy thing.
And no one in the house knew? None of the staff?
There are staff members who are like, I started to be curious about what was going on. The lawyers definitely knew.
Obviously, yeah, because it's like their job is to hide it.
Definitely knew, yeah. And their staff who's like, I started to have some questions about this. And what it basically
And he just likes surrounding himself with young people.
Well, this whole 13 Commandments thing and this whole happiness study was really just a way for him to fund a crazy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And he could act like, oh, I'm just doing what
It's
the dog
research.
wants to do.
I'm just doing what the dog wants
to do. And it ends up becoming kind of sad.
The dog wants us to kiss.
I mean, if
the dog wants you to kiss me.
I mean, I guess if the dog wants it.
The dog would like us to get married. Now the dog wants us to get divorced, so because he wants me to marry her now.
The dog says you have to give me $500.
I don't know. The dog said it.
The dog said it.
I'm at his whim.
I'm just doing what the dog says.
Yeah.
It's my job is do what the dog says. And then it is actually, as the story goes on, it actually becomes kind of sad because he struggled with depression throughout his life. And so Gunther in the story was actually like an alter ego of himself.
Yeah, and it's like the happiness study probably was him trying to be like,
how do I become happy?
Yeah.
And so he was trying to pay a bunch of people to make him happy.
Wow. So he was. I don't feel bad for him at all.
And the crazy.
And I hope he spent his whole life. That guy spent his whole life hiding his money somewhere and trying to find happiness, and I hope he never finds
it. Here's what's crazy. Well, I'll tell you two things that are crazy.
We gotta get out of here.
Yeah, I know. Hold on. I gotta show you two things. One, all this stuff came out and nothing happened. Guinness Book of World Records took back their record.
For Richest Dog.
You don't get to keep that record.
They're like, oh, it was just the guy?
A bunch of like...
It was just the Hitler lookalike?
The Hitler guy.
We all think it, buddy.
We all thought you did.
You know what would help you? You know what would get you happiness?
Shave that thing.
Shave it off.
The mustache.
The reason you're unhappy is that people, when they first see you, everybody sees you and they go, like, whoa. Whoa. Okay, you're not. They all go, ah. And that's making you unhappy.
It's hard to be happy when everybody goes,
hard to be happy when you look like Hitler.
And so, all this
put it in the intro.
So all this,
I like when I see Alex's eyes kind of light up where he goes, that was a good one. The little line that's going in the intro.
All this stuff happens. Guinness Book of World Records revokes their thing. A bunch of like newspapers and news companies, they come out and they're like, hey, sorry, we reported on this stuff. We didn't look into it close enough. RB. And then nothing else happens. He doesn't get in trouble with the government. He doesn't have to pay back taxes.
There's a tax. Everybody's like the ways that things were structured. Like,
yeah, everyone's just like, whatever, man. And so now he has a house in LA and he's doing it again. He's got the House of Gunther. It's a content house in Los Angeles. And they're out here making TikToks. And I don't know what his obsession is with trying to like create this like media thing.
Wait, I know.
You know this house? Have you been there?
No, I go there. I know the guy on the left.
I go to
play pickleball together.
Do you really? I don't buy this.
Yeah, why would that be real?
I don't know. You just recently met a guy. You've been playing pickleball with him. So I haven't met the guy. I don't know what he looks like.
Plausible.
That's like the best thing about the. And so the documentary ends. The credits like start to roll, and then it's like, and then it stops, and it's like, hey, I'm trying to. Is this the right? Can we stop rolling? And the filmmaker's like,
yeah.
And so
for sure, cameras are off.
And so he's like, I'm trying to figure out the right time to tell you this. And he's like, but I like the breeder. We're not breeding the dogs. They're clones. And then that's the end of the documentary.
That's what I asked.
And so like I haven't been able to find anything verifying that they're clones other than he was just like, yeah, they're clones.
Yeah, is the cameras off?
Yeah, the camera's off.
We're cloning this dog. Like, why is that? Like, we're cloning them.
I
don't know how to tell you this, but we're cloning those dogs. All right. Well, fiddle off. Yeah. Are we done? Are we done with the episode? Cool. Hey, I wanted to tell you, since we're done with the episode, I was going to tell you about another episode we did about Ida Wood, who's a rich lady who hid her fund, who hid her finances, and she literally had just like cereal boxes full of money and stuff.
Yeah.
We're not recording, right?
No.
Cool. So if we were recording, I would have said like something about Patreon. But you could share this episode. That helps us the most. You don't have to financially support us, but you do have to share it. Otherwise, Gunther will be mad. Gunther, the dog told you to share this episode.